Hi friends, it's Becky, and I just wanted to dig in to the November Gemstone Orphanage bead box. Now when I unboxed this, and I did the unboxing, I'll put a link to my unboxing in the description below if you want to see my gemstone and some of the other things that I made with that. But during my unboxing, I remember that I started to get instant inspiration from this Opalite oval and the dagger beads, and so I wanted to play around with that inspiration today. So I grabbed some of these like lanterny shape crystals that have some of this matte finish on them out of that box. I also grabbed these, not sure, can't remember, was it moonstone, I think, rondelles that have a little bit of faceting on them out of the box, and then some of these pink opalite rounds. Let me grab my, it's hard to see against my skin what the actual color is. They're just this really, really light pink color. And I just wanted to do some simple stringing with some beading wire, and then I'm going to be doing a little loop-de-loop with the beading wire to add this little set of daggers to hang underneath the focal part of this this necklace. I'm using some findings that came in the box as well. I'm using this to close, and some jump rings that came in that box. And I'm just adding from my bead stash this little bag of very small, like 2mm spacers, because I thought it would be nice to have some little spacers between these beads and kind of bring in more of those rose gold tones in the rest of the necklace. So I'll be adding these as I string. They should give us a little more space and help these crystals kind of stand out from each other a little bit more on the strand. And then I'm going to be stringing onto this bone colored soft flex wire. It's a 49 strand wire, and it's really flexible, so it's easy to be able to string on. And I'm trying to figure out if I want to, yeah, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and string one end, and once I know how long that's going to be, and I get this first part strung, then I'll cut off the rest of it and I'll string the second half after that. So I'll be using one of my bead stoppers for that to hold on to the wire when I do it. And then when I go to crimp my wire, I'm going to be using some 2x2 crimp tubes. These are soft flex crimp tubes, and my magical crimper. And I think that's most of the tools that I'm going to be using. No, I am going to be opening and closing jump rings, so I've got some tools for that. Yeah. Just 2 pliers. These are flat nose pliers and these are bent nose pliers. Where are my chain nose pliers? They were right here. It's fine, because I'm just going to be using it for opening and closing jump rings, basically. But that's what I'm making with this. And I love, love, love this November box. It is a delight, and something that I discovered after I opened up mine, because I was so touched by the fact that my gemstone was named after me, is that everyone's gemstones were named after us. They looked up the origins of everyone's names and included that in each of that, and that is such a personal touch. That was absolutely wonderful. But that's the kind of people that Steve and Debbie are. They're very open to making just a really individualized experience for the people who get their bead boxes from them. So that just goes to show you what a fantastic subscription this is, that you're not just an order number, you're not just, you know, subscriber number 5,626 to them. You're a customer who they, you know, they want to have a really wonderful experience with them. So if there are any openings to subscribe, I would honestly suggest that you do that. And if there aren't any openings, get on the wait list, because it's just such a such a fantastic bead box, and it's been such a wonderful experience, like just from start to finish, working with Steve and Debbie and creating with their gems and their boxes. I just am so happy that it's not just the beads, it's them as well. Like it's the whole thing. Like I could be happy with just the beads, but they make it so much better. And yes, there we go. Those spacers look fantastic with that. You could use some 11O seed beads if you wanted to on that, if you had some rose gold seed beads to kind of give it a little bit more of a pop between these beads. It's because they are such light beads, you know? But that's part of what makes them so pretty, is the fact that they are these beautiful, beautiful pinks and champagnes and light colors. I love that. All right. Really hoping this is going to be long enough, because otherwise I'm going to go need to dig in the box and find more beads to pad this out with on that end for this necklace. Well, this isn't the only way that you can make this kind of a focal with it. You could use beading wire and then do a wire wrapped focal. But I think doing a easy design with some beading wire is going to make it a little more accessible to be able to do that. Even if you're a beginner at beading, I think this is definitely something that you can do. Even if you've never made any jewelry before, you should be able to do this. Because we're just stringing some beads on. And then I'll show you a little extra fun thing to do once we get to this part that is not hard to do. But I do have ideas for things that I'm going to make with my gemstone moon. I'm really excited about that. It is so beautiful. But this is one of those things that it popped into my brain as soon as I saw it, and I have to get it out of my brain. So I'm going to make it become reality, and then it will get out of my brain and leave me alone. They're so pretty. And I think you might have noticed that this bead is a little bit different, but that's because I ran out of these rondelles. So I grabbed one of the crackle agate beads that I got some graduated strands for, to pad this out and to just extend how much more I can create with this. So I'm just going to do a real quick check on the length. Alright. And it looks like I'm going to need a little bit more length there along the back side of it. So I think I'm just going to use some of these crystals along the other end until that's these two-toned crystal roundels. They're rounds. I'm just going to pull some of these out of the box. There we go. And when I get to the other side of my necklace, I'll go ahead and add those then. And that'll also be the part that's around the back of the neck, so it's not going to be super visible. Alright, so this is the super fun part. I'm going to put on this Opalite oval and make sure that I have plenty of wire to play with. And then I'm going to, with this coming out around there, I'm going to put on one of these pink Opalite beads, a dagger. Hold on, wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Should I have put that on first too? Hold on, let me double check. How many do I have here? Because I want, I can't remember if I wanted another one of these before I started this part or not. Okay, yep. So let me do this again. Get this guy on here, and then a spacer. And then put that one on. Make sure that I have enough wire to be able to double this around. For that length. A little bit more. Okay, that should be enough. I don't know if you saw me twisting it, but this is just going to be in this order with the pink opalite, and then a dagger, and then a pink opalite and a dagger, and I'm going to end with a pink opalite. And I'm going to put on 5 daggers, and we're going to see if that is enough of these to go across the bottom of this, and I think it will be. If it isn't, I do have more daggers that I can add. Alright, so like I said, this 49 strand wire, it's very flexible, so this works with this wire. It might not work as well with like 7 strand wire. So you could try it with that and see how it works for you. But it's possible that for this type of design you would need a different type of wire. Alright. Alright, and that is going to be just the right length. So what I'm going to do is pick up this opalite bead, and the wire is going through in this direction, and then I strung this on, and I'm just going to loop it around, making a circle with it, so it goes through in the same direction, just doing a little loop-de-loop around that bead. I'm just going to scooch this down there before I pull that tight. Like that, and now all I have to do is just string the rest of my beads in the same order up the other side, and then add some of these little crystals around the back side so that it is long enough for a clasp. So where are we going? We're starting with our pink opalite bead. There we go. Pink opalite bead. And again, I'm just putting a spacer in between all of these. And then one of these. Big chunky crystals. my bead. I should put these in order, except I will forget the order. But will I? Will I forget it? No, okay, so next is going to be one of these, and then one of those. I'm just going to put these in order so that I can pick them up without having to think too hard about it. There we go. Now it's in order. Because I don't want to skip any beads or get them wrong. And I especially don't want to figure out that I did it wrong after I already crimped everything and have to start over again. Because I have done that before. That is definitely a thing that I am liable to do. Ugh, I love daggers for just adding little dangles like this to a design. It is so much fun. And if we have time, and we'll probably have time because, you know, I'm in charge of how long this is going to be, so I can decide. I'm going to do an earring design with some of these too. And for the earring design, I'm going to use these drops, these faceted drops. Some of these pink cube beads. This was on the strand. And a couple more of these. So we'll get to those after we're done with the necklace. You know, as much as I love, love, love bright colors, I also love really subtle colors too. These ones that, you know, they work together so well because they're so light and easy on the eyes. It can be really calming to have these light colors, especially these light pinks. I love them. It's almost impossible when something is curated like this to make terrible things with it. So, you know, it's not all me. It's also the beads and how pretty they are and how great they look together. So in the United States, we had daylight savings time change. I think the clocks got set back. I wouldn't know though, because when you have dogs, you don't actually get to sleep in an extra hour, because they wake up and they're like, oh, wait a minute. They don't understand clocks. They don't know how to tell time. Numbers are meaningless to them. They just know this is when I usually wake up and get my breakfast. And obviously I'm dying of starvation and Mother needs to know about it. Those of you with pets who are demanding, like, cats will do it too. Cats and dogs. They'll be like, excuse me, excuse me, excuse me. We would like to be fed now. But I was also up very late at night, very early in the morning, because one of my dogs, Ellen, was having some... She needed to go outside a lot, which, like, I can't really be mad at her because she's letting me know that she needs to go outside so she doesn't, you know, make a mess in the house, which, you know, so that's good. And, like, I would rather not have to deal with that, but at the same time, I really miss sleep. So I'm a little bit less talkative right now. I am going to still use these spacers because it'll tie it in really well. But I'm just going to do a spacer and a crystal and a spacer and a crystal until it is the length that I want. And I could go and grab some of the other beads, some of the other colors of gemstones and put them all in between there. But I think that this is going to be enough extra along this either side. And like I said, this will be behind the neck. So it's sometimes nice to have things that are like a more uniform size behind the neck, because then it doesn't rub against your neck wrong when you're wearing it. Sometimes having bigger beads back there bothers me. So having smaller beads in the back feels better to me. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, and I've got 2 of those spacers in a row. Let's get one of those. So that's 5. Let me double check length and see how I'm going on it. Alright, now I do like a shorter necklace, so 5 will do it for me on that end. And that's probably going to be enough wire for me to make my earrings with, because I'm going to be using the beading wire for earrings. So let's get a crimp in that end. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those, plus these. Can you hear Ellen? I am almost done making this, Els. You are okay. Alright, so now I'm going to take one of my crimp tubes, put it on my wire, and I'm just going to go ahead and make a loop in my wire, and then I'll use my jump ring to attach my clasp stuff to the loop that I make. So I'm going to go back through the jump ring. And I'm using these copper color wires because copper is almost the same, but not quite. It's like a redder color than the rose gold color, but it's close enough that it'll go well enough with this. Alright, so I've filled that back on itself, and I've got this loop here on this end that I'm going to be connecting my jump ring to. So let me grab my crimp. If you haven't seen this type of crimping before, there's a little concavity in here that I'm going to center this 2x2 crimp tube in. It only works with 2x2 crimps, and it's best on point 018 or 019 wire. That's what this says. I don't know if you guys can read it. And this is point 019, so it is a good wire to do this type of crimping on. So once again, center it in there before you press it, and then give it a little smush. You don't have to squeeze super hard, but that will smush down just the corners of this, like a little ravioli. And then if you open it and rotate it, and open it and rotate it, and just keep squishing from different angles, it smooths out all those little corners, and then you've got yourself a nice little ball of crimp that you don't have to put a crimp cover on, because I'm terrible at crimp covers. That's something that sometimes I think I should work on that, but then I remember that I like to do this kind of crimp and I don't really need to. So I'll get around to it eventually, I'm sure, but for now, this is where we're at. So this is a decent amount of wire to be able to make the earring that I want to make with it. So I'm going to make sure that I've got oh wait, no, I don't have to like cut all of that off yet. I just need to cut off enough for the extra and then bending it around back, and then I can cut my second length of wire for an earring after the fact. Alright, so this second side, I'm going to want to add these crystals to add the length, and these spacers, and then create my loop. And that's because I decided after I had already strung on the first part of this that I needed to add that length around the back. So I'm just making sure that I do that on this side so it matches both sides. I'm gonna sing my song, my dog, her little song real quick, because sometimes that settles her down. Why are you whining, Ellen? Are you laying too far away? Why are you whining, Ellen? You could move, you've got 4 legs. Why are you whining, Ellen? Did you not get enough to eat? Why are you whining, Ellen? You had 2 meals and several treats. There we go. Oh, it's okay. You think so? We're just gonna have a conversation real quick. Me and her. Ellen, everyone you've ever met loves you so and loves to pet the sweetest girl who's silly too. Yes, the world's in love with you. So why are you whining, Ellen? Don't understand the things you do. Why are you whining, Ellen? Don't you know that I love you? Yes, it's true. I love you too. No, leave them here. Okay, I was about to put those away, but I might use them in my earrings in just a little bit. So let's get some jump rings out. And I'm going to get out 3 jump rings. And let's see. Because I like to do 1 jump ring for the loop and 2 jump rings for the toggle. And the reason I like to do that is just because toggles usually have to have a little more like movement, a little more doing all of that stuff that toggles do. Oh, there you are, friend. I found it. All right, it's chain nose pliers that I was like, where did they go? So I'm going to be opening up this jump ring. You want to hold one end, one side of your jump ring secure, and then just swing it open like that to open it up the rest of the way. And I'm just going to wiggle this a little bit to make sure that when I swing it back, the ends will meet, because you want those ends to meet after you swing it open. And so I'm going to put my loop on there, and then this other loop that I created with my wire, swing that closed again. And for this, I do the same thing. Open up the jump ring, attach it to the toggle, and then I'm going to close this without attaching it to anything because I'm using 2 jump rings for this. I'm going to want to chain them together, so close that up, make sure those ends meet, and then open up that second one. Just going to wiggle this a little bit to make sure that they'll meet up later. When they overlap a little bit, that's what I like to do. Just to ends. That's a good end. There we go. Sometimes you have to fix the ends. Alright, so then I can hook on that jump ring that I'd just added to my bar onto the second jump ring that I've also attached to my necklace. And now the bar will have the extra articulation that I wanted it to have. And this will fit just fine on there. Alright, let's make some earrings. For this was, how long? 18, okay. I'm going to move this aside. So that's 18 centimeters, which means it's about 5.5 inches, something like that, I'm guessing. Let's get 1, 2, 3, 4. One of these drops, 2 of these daggers, and some of these spacers on here. And what I'm going to do is pick up a spacer and then a cube, and I'm using these pink cubes. There we go. A spacer and a dagger. A spacer and a cube. And I'm about to lose my earring off that side, so I'm just gonna pop my wire into this, squeeze the ends, and then just stick that wire in there, and it keeps the beads from coming off the other end when you're doing that. And yeah, I'm just separating these all with spacers. I don't think you need me to put that in writing. And then I'm going to take one of these gemmy brios and hang it right there. And then do the other side the same way with our spacers, our cubes, our spacers, a dagger, and a spacer, and another cube. Alright, now this will be the super fun part. For this, I'm going to need to do 2 crimps because the copper crimps are a little bit on the thick side, and sometimes it can be really hard to fit 3 strands through the copper crimps. So I'm just going to do 2 strands at a time for each of these, and that means there's going to be 2 sections of crimping. And the first one will be to make a teardrop shape And I think I'll use one of these in between the crimps just to add a little bit more of a design element to it. So I'm going to put this crimp on, and I want both ends of my wire going in the same direction through this crimp. We're just going to... Actually, no, let's do it this way. I just want it to make a bit of a drop. A little bit more of a drop, maybe. Oop, don't go all the way through. There we go. You know what I'm missing? I'm missing another spacer right there on that end. So let's pull this out of the crimp and add a spacer. There we go. Put this back into You Are Okay. Everything's okay. Don't you worry, baby. And only one of these needs to be like a little bit longer than the other. The other end of this can be pretty short. And I think that's going to be enough of a drop for me for this wire. So I'm going to make my crimp here, and I'm going to make this crimp the same way that I did the other one by making my ravioli and then turning it around. Until it is a little ball of crimp like that. And now this short piece of my wire, I can clip that right off, stick this crystal down on this single wire. You are so okay. Like that. She's so upset. And then I've got my crimp up here. I'm just going to do one of these with you. I hope y'all are okay with this because my dog obviously needs lots and lots of attention because nobody loves her. She is the most neglected dog on the planet. She'll tell you. She will absolutely tell you. Actually, she might be having more I need to go outside time things going on, which means I really need to finish this up. Let's just grab this wire and pull it through. There we go. And now, the big thing to remember when you go to make your second pair of earrings is to try and match your loop sizes that you have both your top and bottom loops on. Try to get them to be the same on your second one so that they match. Let me finish this up real quick before I turn this off. And I'll just do one last look with you on this earring. And let's get this out. This is one of the ear wires that came in the kit. Swing you open. Yep, you swing the little thing open like that. Put on the beading wire loop that I just made. And now I have an earring. And since this is a very light design, I'm going to move this so we can take a last look with a contrast background right here. That should give us there we go. So that is at least one of the earrings. I will be making a second earring to go with it. We've got one of those, and then we've got our necklace that we made. Alright, I hope y'all enjoyed this. I will put links to the Gemstone Orphanage sign up boxes, at least get on the wait list if you can't sign up for another box. I think they had some extras available, but I don't think that there were that many, so they probably aren't available now. Sorry. It is one of my favorite subscriptions, and I'm so glad that I get to play around with this every 2 months. Anyway, I will again put those links in the description. There, click more down there. If you like what you see, hit the like button. If you want to see more, hit subscribe, and I will talk with you later. Happy beading.